So in a previous video, I mentioned that Earth is actually hell. And I just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit. For those who don't know, I believe in a lot of esoteric teachings, and one of those things is reincarnation. And I also believe that there's something called moksha, which is in things like Hinduism and Buddhism and other belief systems, where you can actually escape the cycle of death and rebirth through enlightenment or your spiritual awakening, or awakening to spiritual truths and things like that. And so in that way, I really believe that in older scriptures from all different religions, be it Christian or Muslim or Jewish or any of the religions that have scripture that they're based on, I really believe there's a lot of hidden symbolic meaning in those. The esoteric truth behind it is that hell is actually earth. So when you die, if you had bad karma, in other words, you were unrighteous, right? You would return to earth, which is hell. It's the suffering, it's the torment, it's the place where, we are seemingly suffering without remembering our past lives. And that isn't to say that, it's good to just die early. I am not saying that at all. Please don't take it that way. The whole purpose of life is to come here and to experience all there is to experience. Life is actually a beautiful thing. But when we keep living life after life after life without becoming awakened to the truth of who and what we are, which is the consciousness that started the entire universe, we are part of the all. That's why I'm a pantheist. I believe that God is not a person. God is the consciousness that we all come from and that we're a part of. And one day when we reach moksha and we awaken to that truth, we can rejoin that consciousness, which is like heaven. So I hope that makes sense, and I can elaborate more on that if any of you have questions. So just let me know.
So this morning I rang up my consultant to see if he could tell me maybe what I could do between now and Wednesday about this pain. And the secretary rang and she was so lovely. And she's like, I'm so sorry, but you've got to speak to your doctor. Well, the stress comes before you even ring them because they're not going to help you. And sure enough, the lovely Amanda from Rothwell Surgery in Northamptonshire, I had said to her, I desperately need some help. I'm in pain like I've never felt before, and I just don't want to carry on anymore. And she turned around and she said, you'll have to call back in the morning. And I said to Amanda, did you just hear what I said? I'm in excruciating pain. Please, can I speak to a doctor? I don't think I can carry on anymore. And she said, no. I've told you, if you're that bad, go to Corby Urgent Care. This is a doctor's appointment, and this is how human beings are being treated. I'm a counsellor, and I look after my clients even when I'm in the worst state. I'd never treat my clients the way I get treated from that practice, I tell you. But that is disgusting and diabolical, absolutely horrendous. Anyway, I have called urgent care. And again, they can't help me. I don't want to call an ambulance out. I just need to know what medication I can take on top of what I'm taking, just to take this vile pain away. That's all I need to know. But nobody will tell me, nobody will help me, which leaves me in two things. I either carry on being in this excruciating pain, or I just take the risk of taking more tablets, which is bloody ridiculous. This day and age, a doctor's practice just has no compassion at all. I'm just at the end of my tether with everything. They're the ones who just left me in 2020, which just made me so violently ill with all these problems. And now this on top of everything else is just tipping me through the roof, I tell you. Anyway,
It's amazing how people believe it's unsustainable and impossible for both a fast food worker and an EMT to make livable wages at the same time. But it's perfectly fine and okay for 5 men in the US to have a combined wealth of 435.4 billion. Your fellow workers are not the enemy. Preach, okay? Like people try to come, we all try to comfort each other, and that's what they want us to do. They want us infighting against one another when we really need to be pointing our eyes towards them. They are the ones that are increasingly making bank. Millions of dollars a year for them and their shareholders and the high seat executives. They're the ones that are hoarding the wealth, they're greedy, and they don't want to pay people a livable wage. I don't care. Working at McDonald's is a hard job to do. Just because it's McDonald's doesn't mean you have to put it down. An EMT worker is definitely hard as well. Maybe McDonald's might not have to be paid as much as an EMT, but both deserve to be making a livable wage. People should not have to work 2 jobs just to make rent. This whole system needs to be scratched and start all over and do something else because it's not fair. And honestly, the guys who are the billionaires that make a whole bunch of money, they didn't make it themselves. Normally, it's generational wealth. They should not have access to that amount of wealth. It's not healthy.
All right, y'all. I have to share this. Somehow these ended up in the back of my pantry. As you can see, they're about 5 months old. And they look like display muffins. These came from Costco. Where's the... There it is, Kirkland's right there. Yeah, there's the Costco store it came from. And as you can see, there's barely any mold. Microscopic spots of mold. And look, hard as a rock. Like, this isn't how normal food should be. And these come from the bakery where you think they're freshly made. What do they put in these fuckers? Like, how does it not break down? Like, this is so horrible. You can't buy or trust anyone. I'm so fucking over these corporations.
But in other news, they really out here trying to kill us. Like, they don't really care. Because why Kraft mac and cheese come out with ranch and jalapeno? Like, y'all want to kill us. Like, it wasn't enough that the ramen was killing us. It's not enough that the dye in the cheese powder killing us. No. And could we get into this too? Because why they say now in a paper cup and microwavable? So we was just eating raw cancer, microwaving them noodles in a non-microwavable cup before. Good to know.
What's your guys' schedule like coming here?
We work out at 6 a.m. every day,
6
Monday to Friday.
a.m.?
We're going to get
But
in
we
there.
get here at 5:30 to stretch and warm up.
What the hell time do you get up?
About like 4:45,
What time do you go to bed?
9:30.
This is 100% true. You can pause to read the whole thing. Companies do not care about you. They don't care about your health. They don't care about you or your family's well-being. They don't care about your ability to provide for yourself or your family. They care about one thing, and that is the amount of productivity that you can offer to them at the lowest possible price tag. Do not kill yourself for a company that would have your job posted before you were in the ground.
Okay, I'm back. So the very next day after my husband died, my CFO, who was my boss at the time, and the director of HR were on the phone with me asking me if I can work on call while planning my husband's funeral because they failed to provide me with assistance. Although they knew my husband had 6 to 12 months to live, they waited until the day that he died to get me some help. So I took calls, helped train people, and took meetings while planning his funeral. In addition to that, my pastor at the time told me he only had the capacity to preach the eulogy, and my husband's family was in such heavy grief that they could not assist with helping plan the funeral. So not only did I plan the funeral by myself, but I was on call working. My CFO and one of the other executives did attend the funeral that Saturday, but on Monday was on the phone with me asking when I was coming back to work. So the day after my last out-of-town family left, I was back at work. Shortly after that, I caught COVID, and they had an expectation that I worked during COVID because some of my white counterparts didn't get as sick as I did and they were able to work. So the expectation was the same for me. Although I carried 103 fever for over 15 days, they called just to see if I had enough strength to work. Not to check on me, not to see if I was okay, nothing, just to know when I was going to be able to work again. After I went back to work, my CFO had the audacity to sit on my desk and tell me that it was hard for them to support me during this time. When I tell you it took every ounce of strength in me to not knock over everything that was on that desk, including him, but I held my composure. About a week after that, one of my coworkers' father died, a Caucasian coworker. She took 3 weeks off for her father's death. And during the time she was off, somebody needed her to perform a task, and I heard her boss telling them, do not bother her because her father died and she's on bereavement leave. I really wish I would have been able to get that same respect and treatment losing my husband. To make matters worse, they hired a VP of accounting a few weeks after that. And the very first one-on-one that I had with my new boss, he told me that everyone felt like they had given me my space and I should just get over it now. Oh, y'all, I'm not done with this. There's more, so part 3 coming.
Next time you're worried about taking a vacation and what your boss is going to think, just go ahead and reread this comment. Someone at my work died. Hard worker. They had their position posted before the week was up. She wasn't even buried yet. That opened my eyes to the bare minimum. Enjoy life, and I enjoy life as much as I can. They don't care.
Congratulations, you just got a job offer. You guys don't even know how bad I used to want to work for Target, but now
I wish my coworkers understood that the year is 2024. You are not getting awarded for doing extra work, for being up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Nobody gives a fuck. We're also remote. Nobody is watching you that intently about what you're doing. I say this because they get up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and then complain to me about it. Oh, when did you start working? I've been up since 4. I started working at 8:45. What the fuck? Are you crazy? What the fuck what are you up at 4 a.m. for? We get paid the same. The pay is not bad, but it's not no 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning pay. Hello? My manager has never said, Morgan, you should be up, as early as possible. That's never been an expectation. They do it to themselves. And then also, they'll message me at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning about things that I was already going to do at 8, 9 a.m. Bitch, if you waited till normal fucking business hours, I would have been doing it already. I'm not, if you message me before 7 a.m., and even if I hear it, I'm not getting up. Are you crazy? Like, are you literally insane? It pissed me off so bad because this girl had messaged me at 5 a.m. about something I was already doing, but it was 5 a.m. If you would have waited till 9:30, it would have already been done, you fucking crazy lady. What?
This just in. Guess what? The Canadian Union of Postal Workers has given 72 hours strike notice to Canada Post. The notice is for both unions, urban and rural, and suburban bargaining units. In a released early today, Tuesday morning, this is November 12th, 2024, the union says workers will be in a legal strike position as of Friday if negotiation settlements have not been reached. Yay! So there you have it. They can't pay their workers what they are owed. They can buy these $1.2 million trucks, brand new trucks, and they have absolutely horrible, it's like a money pit. But yet, our Canadian government can give billions to Ukraine and foreign aid and immigration. So, there you go. What's important to you? So as of Friday, you may not be seeing these on the road come Monday. Just FYI, get everything organized, mailed out, whatever that needs to be happening, because who knows how long this strike is going to last. Hopefully it gets resolved before shipping of Christmas parcels in that busy season, but I don't know. And why do I care? We work on these. We're contracted to work on them, so we know how much of a delight this investment is. So comment. What do you think's going on? Do you think that we should give in to Canada Post or go on for a lengthy strike? Let's think before we speak, and comment what you think. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
LinkedIn has turned into a snitch. I say this for two different reasons. Reason number one, I logged into LinkedIn today for the first time in like a month. Now, I'm HR. I don't generally go onto LinkedIn unless I absolutely need a reason to. And what pops up to the top of my feed? People commenting from the company that I work at on other people's posts saying that they have a job opening, and my people saying, hey, I'm interested, send me more information, or DM'd you about this, okay? So first of all, these people, I'm not connected to them. So LinkedIn basically snitched to me on them that they're looking for a job. Now, when you comment, I just make an assumption that you just think other people are gonna see, or it's not a secret anymore, which is totally fine. And that one was not as big of a deal as the second one. LinkedIn has an open to work feature, and I've always thought it was private, but I was clicking on some people's profiles, just being like, oh, who's this? Or I've met this person once before, just like to put a face to a name. And I clicked on one and it showed me that they were open to work or looking for another job. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I don't have Recruiter like Lite or anything like that. And I'm not I'm connected to these people. I shouldn't be able to see this, but okay. And then I saw it on a few other people. So LinkedIn just snitched on these people.
If you're anything like me and you have a habit of becoming friends with your coworkers, I'm here to remind you that they're not your friends. And unfortunately, this is also a reminder to myself.
1 year ago, I left corporate for good, and here is more of what I've learned. I've learned that you have to live a lie to survive corporate. I heard a phrase going around TikTok that I absolutely loved, and I think it applies here. You have to operate in dishonest harmony within the corporate environment. It does not matter how you feel. It does not matter how bad the environment is. Everybody is just playing their role, pretending like it's a great place to work and like everybody's getting along and everything is great. Think about town halls, where you go to a huge meeting and you have to listen to all the executives brag about how great everything is going. And when it comes time to submit questions, they're always handpicking the ones that make them look good. Can you imagine what a town hall would look like if everybody actually got to speak their minds? In toxic organizations, they really don't care if you're living an honest and authentic life. They're perfectly fine with inauthentic as long as you keep your problems to yourself. It's almost as if the oxygen that is pumping through these corporate offices is just there to fog your brain so you become more and more complacent and compliant. So if you're still in corporate, you might be a little bit confused and you might be saying to yourself, can I make this situation better? And I'm going to tell you something that I heard from a professor that I really respected. He said, if you were from Illinois and you moved to Texas, do you think that you are going to make Texas more like you? Or do you think that Texas is going to make you more like them? You cannot change an environment that you are not the owner of. And you cannot change an organization from the bottom up.
Let's build upon the tariff discussion with a discussion of pricing and how retail pricing works for small businesses. This is a message we got yesterday via email from a longtime customer, former customer, who was upset that our prices have gone up in the past few years, mainly since, 2018, 2020, in that area. I'm going to go out on a limb, okay, and tell you the vast majority of small businesses in the United States are not greedy. They are not trying to fleece their customers. They are merely trying to survive in an environment that is increasingly difficult to survive in. Prices are up everywhere, and while oligarchs like Elon Musk would have you believe that it's because of government spending, it's simply not the case, especially for someone like him who has received upwards of $5 or $6 billion worth of government subsidies. Without those subsidies, he's nothing. So the main issue with price increases is that we are trying to keep up with the increases that are being placed upon us. The tariff discussion from the other day is just another example of a potential cost increase on small businesses, because we're going to have to shoulder that. As I've stated then, our distributors are going to pay whatever the amount of the tariff is, and then once they charge us for that, we have to pass that along to the customer. Why? Because retail pricing dictates that you have to turn a profit. Are we that profit motivated? No. But do we have to stay in business? Yes. Since the ownership of our business changed a few years ago, we have tried to implement a number of changes that are, yes, more costly. So yes, we did have to raise prices, but those changes were not to enrich ourselves, but rather to enrich the people that work for us. We are paying a living wage. We are paying healthcare benefits. We are trying our best to improve the food that we're making, so the items that you're buying from us are better than ever, using locally sourced ingredients as much as we can, using traditional techniques that are very time consuming. So why are prices going up? Well, two things: corporate greed combined with shareholder capitalism. Shareholder capitalism is the idea that the main goal of businesses is to create value for the shareholder, not for the workers, not for the environment, just for the shareholders. That's why it's disingenuous to look at the stock market and say the economy is doing great, because, as I said before, 99% of businesses in America are small businesses, and 99% of businesses are not on the stock market. But this distributor we work with certainly is on the stock market, and they certainly do profit billions every year in food, an industry that's historically really difficult to turn a profit in, because many people believe food should be cheap. And like the email that I started this video with, people get really upset when prices go up. Of course they do. Let you in on a little secret. We don't want to raise prices. We agonize over it. It is one of the most difficult decisions we make when we go ahead and do it. If I'm being honest, our prices aren't high enough, but that's not our fault. We don't have shareholders to look after. We have our employees. We want our employees to have the best lives possible. So what does that mean? Well, we have to charge the prices necessary to afford to give them the wages they deserve. Because without them, we don't have a business. We understand that workers are the key to every business. I'll leave you with this. A couple years ago, another customer made a phone call and told us that our prices were too high and that she wasn't going to buy from us anymore. Okay. When I explained to her that we had started paying living wage, healthcare benefits, and all these things, you're paying for a lot more than simply our food and enriching the owners. We are certainly not more enriched than we were years ago. She merely responded, well, maybe you should consider paying your people less and taking away their health insurance. That is something we were never willing to do, and something we will never do. The day that happens, the day we cannot afford to pay our employees what they're worth and to provide them with health insurance, that is the day that we close our doors.